Picture this. You're standing on the edge of a cliff. Below you, the world is chaos. People are screaming, panicking, drowning in their own feelings. Every wave is a crisis. Every emotion is an explosion. Above you, nothing but thin, sharp, icy air and a decision. Stay down there with them. Or climb up here, where survival isn't about how you feel. It's about how you think. Most people never make that climb. They can't. The moment life hits them hard, they crumble. They cry, they rage, they spiral. They let their heart grab the steering wheel while their mind gets shoved into the trunk. And that's exactly when the world eats them alive. Niccolo Machiavelli watched this play out on the grandest stage possible. Kings falling, empires collapsing. And not because of war, not because of enemies, but because of weakness. They felt too much and thought too little. Emotion killed them long before any sword ever did. So Machiavelli created a code, a brutal one. Stay cold, stay sharp. While they panic, you breathe. While they burn, you freeze. Because in the long run, the coldest mind wins. Now listen carefully. This isn't about being heartless. It's about being unshakable. It's about walking through fire without flinching. It's about holding a sword in one hand and a calm smile on your face because you know something other people don't. Emotions are weapons. If you don't control yours, someone else will pick them up and use them against you. Today, I'm going to walk you through 7 brutal truths Machiavelli understood about power and emotion. Truths almost no one will ever learn, and even fewer will ever apply. These aren't feel-good tips. These are survival instructions. The difference between people who lead and people who follow. The difference between people who win and people who are used. The difference between the ones still standing and the ones on their knees, wondering what happened. Because here's the reality the world will never apologize for. Life doesn't care how you feel. It doesn't care if you're tired, hurt, overwhelmed, or not in the mood. Life tests you. It pushes you. And if you break, it simply moves on. So the question is simple. Are you going to stay soft and let the world shape you? Or are you going to become stone cold, steady, unmovable, unbreakable? If you're done being a victim of your own reactions and you're ready to master your emotions instead of being owned by them, stay with me. Because once you really understand what you're about to hear, you'll never look at power, control, or yourself the same way again. Before we dive in, drop this affirmation in the comments to mark the moment you chose the cliff over the chaos. I am unbreakable stone. Now let's begin. 1. Keep your mind cold. See truth clearly. Let's start with something uncomfortable. Your biggest enemy isn't your boss. It's not your ex. It's not that person who wronged you. It's not the system. Your biggest enemy is the fog inside your own head. That fog rolls in every time you let your emotions take control. Most people walk through life half blind, not because they can't see, but because they refuse to see. They don't look at reality. They look at what matches their anger, their fear, their hopes, their insecurity. They stare at whatever makes them feel right, not whatever is right. And that's exactly how they lose. A hot mind is a clouded mind. When you're angry, you miss details that could save you. When you're scared, you see threats that aren't even there. When you're overly hopeful, you ignore the knife aimed at your back. Heat goes up, clarity goes down. Every time. Machiavelli understood something ice cold. Truth doesn't care if it comforts you. It just waits. Only the cold mind can see it clearly. When everyone else is shouting about what they think is happening, The cold mind is quietly watching what's actually happening. Think about your own life for a second. How many times have you made a terrible decision because you were furious in the moment? Said something cruel or stupid because your emotion hijacked your mouth? Sabotaged an opportunity because you were too hurt, too jealous, or too hyped to see straight? If you're honest, it's more times than you want to admit. You were taught that passion is power, that to truly live, you have to feel everything intensely. Nobody told you the second half of that sentence: passion without control is just chaos in disguise. A cold mind doesn't mean you don't feel. It means you don't let what you feel distort what is true. You still feel the anger, but you don't let it blind you. You still feel the pain, but you don't let it paralyze you. You acknowledge the emotion, and then you step back and ask, what is actually true here? Most people never reach that question. They confuse their emotional reaction with reality itself. Someone disrespects them. They decide that person is 100% evil. Someone praises them. They decide that person is fully trustworthy. Neither is true. Both are just emotional temperature checks from a heated mind. A cold mind filters out the noise. It looks at patterns, not isolated moments. At actions, not pretty words. At results, not intentions. It doesn't ask, how do I feel about this? It asks, what does this really mean? Machiavelli said, the wise man does at once what the fool does finally. What separates the wise from the fool? Temperature. The wise see clearly from the beginning because their mind stays cold. The fool only sees clearly after the damage is done, when their emotions finally cool off and reality punches them in the face. You want real power? Start here. Cool down, not your passion for life, but your reaction to it. Turn your mind into a sheet of ice, clear, reflective, hard to crack. When your mind is cold, you stop lying to yourself. You stop being easy to manipulate. You stop walking into traps built out of your own feelings. Because when you see everything clearly, no one can fully deceive you. Not your enemies, not your friends, and not even you. Drop this in the comments to lock this in. My mind stays cold. 2. Do not act from emotion. Act with intention. Here's where most people ruin their own lives quietly, repeatedly, and without even realizing it. They move when they're heated. They speak when they're shaking. They decide when they're hurt. And then the next day, they sit there confused, asking themselves, how did everything fall apart so fast? Simple. Action without intention is self-destruction. It's movement with no aim, noise with no strategy, punching in the dark, hoping something, anything, lands. Meanwhile, someone colder, calmer, more calculated is 2 steps behind you, watching you burn all your energy, waiting for their moment. Emotion makes you predictable. Predictability makes you weak. When you act from anger, people know exactly what you'll do. When you act from fear, they can predict your retreat. When you act from desperation, you become easy to manipulate. You're not dangerous. You're transparent. Intention is the opposite of all of that. Intention means you know why you move, when you move, and what outcome you're aiming for before you take even one step. You're not responding to what just happened. You're shaping what happens next. That's the difference between surviving and dominating. Every action you take must have purpose behind it, not emotion, not impulse, not ego, not insecurity. Purpose. Ask yourself, what am I trying to achieve here? Not, how do I feel right now? Those 2 questions create completely different lives. Think back to the last time someone pushed your buttons. They insulted you. They embarrassed you. They tried to make you look small. What did you do? Did you fire back instantly? Did you take the bait? Did you react in the moment? If you did, they won. Because they controlled you. Their words moved you like a puppet string. But if you stayed quiet, if you smirked and walked away, if you chose silence instead of reaction, now you won. Because your response came from your intention, not their provocation. You moved when you chose to, not when they commanded you to. That's power. Intentional action demands patience. It requires you to sit with the discomfort of holding your fire, to feel the anger rise and not move, to feel the urge to respond and stay silent, to feel the sting and maintain your composure anyway. That's how you become unpredictable. That's how you stay ahead while everyone else is blowing up their own position. Most people live in emotional time. You will live in strategic time. Machiavelli said, "Never attempt to win by force what can be won by deception." Why? Because force is emotional. It's loud. It reveals your hand. But intention is quiet, invisible, sharp. It doesn't announce itself. It just executes. By the time anyone realizes what you were doing, it's already over. Stop letting your emotions write your story. They're terrible authors. They turn everything into drama and nothing into progress. From today forward, before you speak, act, respond, or move, ask yourself, is this emotion or intention? Emotion makes you controlled. Intention makes you powerful. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I act with purpose. 3. Never react first. Hold your power. Burn this into your mind. The first person to react loses. This rule applies everywhere: conflict, negotiation, arguments, relationships, business, all of it. When you react first, you reveal your position. You expose your emotions. You show your vulnerabilities before the other person even has to move. Reaction is surrender. It gives away information. It hands the enemy the blueprint to your weaknesses. Once they know what triggers you, they can control you whenever they want. Power doesn't rush. Power doesn't flinch. Power doesn't jump at the first sign of tension. Power waits. The person who can wait, who can sit in silence, who doesn't need to prove anything, who doesn't crumble under pressure, is the person no one can manipulate. And that terrifies people. When someone attacks you verbally, emotionally, socially, they're expecting reaction. They want to pull you into their chaos. They want you to defend yourself, justify yourself, explain yourself, break your composure. The moment you react, they've won. Not because they were right, but because you gave them control. So what do you do instead? Nothing. You absorb the hit like stone absorbs rain. You let the words fall flat. You let their energy burn out while yours stays still. Your silence becomes the loudest thing in the room. Silence forces people to confront themselves. It creates pressure. It turns the tables. They expect noise. You give them a void. And suddenly, they're the ones spiraling. Why isn't this working? Why aren't they reacting? Why can't I get to them? While they panic, you're studying them, gathering information, watching their real intentions surface. This doesn't mean you never respond. It means you respond when you choose, not when they want you to. Not with their timing, not with their emotion, not with their energy. You wait long enough for them to show their entire hand. Then you strike quiet, precise, devastating. Reacting first means playing their game. Responding later means forcing them to play yours. Machiavelli said, "One must be a fox to recognize traps, and a lion to frighten wolves." The fox waits. The fox watches. The fox never steps into a trap out of emotion. That's you now. People will push your buttons. Let them. Let them try. Let them waste their time. You stay still, because the person who stays still the longest owns the moment. Drop this in the comments. I hold my power. 4. Control your tone. Control your heartbeat. Your words don't betray you. Your voice does. Your breath does. Your pulse does. Your body does. You think people listen mainly to what you say. Wrong. They listen to how you say it. A threat delivered with a trembling voice? A joke, a confident sentence said with steady eyes and calm tone. A warning. People may not understand psychology, but they instinctively read signals. They read micro-movements, tiny shifts, subtle changes in tone. They can sense fear, insecurity, and panic even when you think you're hiding it perfectly. If your voice cracks, they hear doubt. If it speeds up, they hear panic. If it rises, they hear loss of control. If your breathing changes, they know you're shaken. Your presence speaks before your mouth does. Tone is everything. It's the difference between commanding respect and begging for it. You can say the exact same phrase 2 different ways and get 2 different realities. Tone communicates, I'm grounded. I'm shaken. I'm confident. I'm weak. I'm in control. I'm spiraling. You need one tone, measured, calm, deliberate, not robotic, not monotone, just steady, like nothing around you is loud enough to disturb your inner equilibrium. But tone is just the surface layer. Underneath it lies something even more important, your heartbeat. When your heart races, your body enters survival mode. Your breath gets shallow. Your mind gets foggy. Your decisions get sloppy. You stop being strategic. You start being reactive. And reactive people are easy to control. If you master your heartbeat, you master the moment. When pressure rises, you slow everything down. Your breathing becomes deeper, slower. Your voice becomes calmer. Your mind becomes still. Your body believes there is no threat. So your mind follows. Your energy follows. Your presence follows. This is physical discipline. This is mental training. This is psychological power. Because when everyone else is speeding up, braking, shaking, you move at a different tempo, slow, intentional, controlled. That's what authority feels like. Machiavelli wrote, "Men judge more by the eye than by the hand. Everyone can see, few can feel. People judge you by what they see, not what's happening internally. They don't see your thoughts. They see your tone, your shoulders, your breathing, your calmness or lack of it. And they form their entire opinion of your strength based on those signals. So control the signals. Control the story your body is telling. Control the energy you project. When your tone stays calm under pressure, people automatically assume you know something they don't. They respect you without knowing why. They hesitate before challenging you again. Your calmness becomes intimidation. Your control becomes dominance. Your presence becomes power. People will throw chaos at you, hoping you'll join the fire. They expect you to raise your voice, shake or break. Instead, you do the opposite. You drop your tone lower. You speak slower. You breathe deeper. You stand firmer. You don't let your biology make decisions for you. You take control. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I control my signal. 5. Endure pain. Never panic. Here's something simple but brutal. Pain is guaranteed. Panic is optional. Everyone gets hit by life. Everyone bleeds. Everyone gets thrown into situations that shake them, hurt them, scare them, stretch them. Pain is universal. The difference between the ones who collapse and the ones who rise is not about who feels more pain. It's about who panics and who doesn't. Most people break the moment discomfort shows up. They scramble, they react, they flail. They chase any escape, any distraction, any quick fix. And that panic multiplies the damage. Panic turns a small problem into a disaster, a small wound into a crisis, a minor setback into a collapse. Because panic shuts down logic. It hijacks your brain. It makes you impulsive and sloppy. It blinds you to exits. And while you're spiraling, your enemies watch quietly, letting you destroy yourself. Endurance is different. Endurance says, "This hurts. I know. And I'm staying anyway." Endurance doesn't ignore pain. It doesn't pretend it doesn't exist. It simply refuses to let pain dictate your behavior. You feel the burn. You acknowledge it. Then you keep moving like the pain is just background noise. This is mental armor. This is what separates survivors from casualties. Life will break your plans. It will blindside you. It will crush you in moments you thought were safe. It will take things, people, opportunities you love. If you panic every time pain shows up, you'll live your entire life trapped in fear. But if you endure, if you stand still in the fire without screaming, you become something else entirely. Someone pain cannot control. Someone fear cannot own. Someone chaos cannot break. Machiavelli wrote, "Where the willingness is great, the difficulties cannot be great." Translation: your willpower sets the limits, not the pain. If you decide ahead of time that you will endure no matter what, then pain becomes just scenery. Uncomfortable scenery, sure, but not something that stops you. People will try to break you with discomfort, with pressure, with suffering. They'll expect you to fold. When you don't, when you withstand the heat calmly, they start to fear you. Because you're not operating by normal human limits anymore. That doesn't mean you're immune to pain. It means you can function through it. Athletes do it. Soldiers do it. Anyone who ever built something great had to learn it. Pain is just information, not a command, not a stop sign, not a signal to quit. So the next time life hits you, and trust me, it will, don't panic. Breathe. Stay still. Let the moment pass through you without collapsing. Ask yourself, can I take one more step? The answer is almost always yes. And if you can take one more step, you can take another, and another. And eventually, you'll look back and realize the pain is behind you, and you're still standing. Drop this affirmation in the comments. Pain cannot stop me. 6. Stay calm while others burn. Chaos is opportunity, but only for the person who isn't drowning in it. Look around you. Watch how people behave when pressure hits. Deadlines approach. Plans fall apart. Uncertainty rises. The stakes get real. Most people implode instantly. They complain. They panic. They broadcast their stress. They become loud, emotional, sloppy, chaotic. And the moment they do, they become useless. Because someone who's burning can't help anyone, not even themselves. But you stay still. You stay cold. You stay quiet. And suddenly, like magic, people notice you. Not because you're shouting or demanding attention, but because you're the only one not falling apart. That makes you rare. That makes you valuable. That makes you the gravity in the room. Calmness in chaos is authority without titles, influence without asking for it, respect without needing permission. People naturally orbit around stability. They crave it, especially when their own world is shaking. When you remain calm while everyone else is breaking, they look at you as the anchor, and anchors run the ship. But here's the truth. Staying calm doesn't mean you're unaffected. It means you're unshaken. You still see the storm. You still feel the pressure. You still understand what's at stake. You just don't let it control you. Because while everyone else is drowning in emotion, you're thinking clearly. While they're making frantic, reactive decisions, you're quietly planning 3 steps ahead. While they're screaming about problems, you're watching them create openings you can use. Their chaos becomes your cover. Their panic becomes your advantage. Their noise becomes your cloak. Ask yourself, when is the best time to make a move? When everyone is watching you, or when everyone is too distracted by their own meltdown to see you coming. Machiavelli once wrote, "In the midst of chaos, there is also opportunity. Crisis reveals who's strong and who just pretended to be. Pressure exposes the frauds, the ones who crumble as soon as real weight hits them. And when the frauds collapse, space opens. Space for the calm, space for the cold. Space for the ones who didn't flinch. Space for you. But here's a warning, and it's critical. Do not brag about your calmness. Do not show off your composure. Do not announce, 'Look at me, I'm so calm while everyone else is a mess.' That's arrogance. And arrogance paints a target on your back. Power that is real doesn't need to be spoken. Just be calm. Just be steady. Just be the one who doesn't break. People will notice on their own. They will come to you naturally because you have what they lack: stability. The world rewards the one who stays composed when everything else is collapsing, not because they're a good person, but because they are useful. They can see clearly. They can decide rationally. They don't get lost in noise. They don't add to the fire. They rise above it. So when the flames come, and they always come, let others burn. Let them scream. Let them spiral. Let them waste their energy. You stay still. You stay cold. You stay unshaken. Because when the fire dies and the smoke clears, you'll still be standing, and people will remember that. Drop this affirmation in the comments. Chaos cannot touch me. 7. Master your emotions before they master you. This is the final truth, the one that ties everything together. Your emotions are not your friends. They are tools, powerful tools, dangerous tools, tools that can build empires or burn them to ash. And if you don't learn to use them, they will use you. Most people live their lives as emotional hostages. They wake up and their mood decides their day. Someone says something rude, and their entire week collapses. One plan doesn't go perfectly, and their whole identity shakes. They aren't living. They are being lived by whatever feeling is loudest. That's not freedom. That's a prison. And the bars aren't metal, they're made of uncontrolled emotion. Emotional mastery does not mean shutting emotions off. It doesn't mean becoming numb. It doesn't mean pretending you don't feel. That's not mastery, that's denial. Mastery means awareness. You feel anger? Good. Now, what will you do with it? Let it explode or harness it. You feel fear? Fine. How will you respond? Freeze or step forward anyway? Emotional mastery is the gap between feeling and action. It's the pause, the breath. The moment where you step outside yourself and decide, do I follow this emotion or do I override it? That moment is where power lives. Without mastery, you're reactive, predictable, easy to manipulate. Anyone who knows your triggers owns you. They can press your buttons anytime they want and get the reaction they expect. But when you master your emotions, you become untouchable. People can press every button you have, and nothing happens, because you unplugged the wires. You took control of your own operating system. Machiavelli said, "Whoever wishes to foresee the future must consult the past." Look at your past honestly. Every mistake you regret, trace it back. How many were caused by emotion? Anger, fear, impulsiveness, jealousy, hopefulness without logic? More than you want to admit. Emotion ruled you, and you paid the price. Now imagine the opposite moments. The times you stayed calm, cold, patient, aware. Those are the moments you made the right choices. Those are the moments you actually had control. Those are the moments that built your progress. The future you want is not built by emotion. It's built by discipline, by intention, by strategy. Your emotions can't drive the car anymore. They crash into everything. You take the wheel now, because every other lesson, cold mind, intention, patience, tone control, endurance, calmness, flows from this final law. Master yourself. Most people will hear this and do nothing. They'll stay reactive. They'll stay emotional. They'll stay predictable. But not you. You understand now that coldness is clarity, that control is strategy, that the world rewards the still, not the frantic. Now apply it. Not tomorrow. Not when it's easy. Now. Drop this final affirmation. I am cold as stone. Now that you've learned all 7 principles, there's one final step, the part most people never reach. Knowing these truths doesn't change anything unless you live them. This last section is about taking everything you've learned and turning it into a way of life, a mindset, a posture, a presence. Because becoming cold as stone isn't a moment. It's a discipline. Becoming stone in a world of fire. The world is built to keep people emotional. Outrage, insecurity, panic, desire, everything around you tries to heat your mind. Why? Because emotional people are easy to control. They react. They fall for tricks. They get manipulated. They crumble. But a cold mind? A cold mind is free. And that's why few people ever become stone. Most choose the comfort of reaction over the discomfort of discipline. It's easier to explode than to pause. Easier to panic than to endure. Easier to follow impulse than intention. But you wouldn't still be here if you were like them. You feel the pull toward something higher, something sharper, something colder. That's why these lessons hit you differently. Your presence will change. Once you start applying these truths, people will feel it instantly. Your presence will shift. You speak less, but your words hit harder. You react less, but you understand more. You don't seek validation. You create silence. You don't fight for respect. You command it. Your calmness under pressure becomes intimidating. Your stillness becomes power. Your silence becomes strategy. People won't know why, but they'll sense it. You can't be pushed. You can't be rattled. You can't be manipulated. You've unplugged the emotional wires that used to control you. Your new mode of operation. From this moment forward, when someone provokes you, you wait. When life throws chaos at you, you stay still. When pressure rises, you breathe slower. When pain hits, you don't panic. When emotions surge, you observe before acting. Every time you choose discipline over impulse, you add another layer of stone to your character. This is how you become unbreakable, not through force, but through control. The turning point. You now stand where very few ever stand, at the line between who you were and who you can become. You can go back to reacting, doubting, crumbling, living emotionally, like the masses. Or you can choose the other path, the colder path, the one Machiavelli knew separated leaders from followers, winners from losers, predators from prey. That path starts now. Not tomorrow, not when things get easier, Not when you feel ready. Now. The world won't wait for you to get stronger. It's testing you already. And how you respond from this moment on will define everything that comes after. Drop this final affirmation in the comments. I am cold as stone. Now go live it.